This episode is brought to you by Experian Automotive. Experian helps the auto industry turn powerful vehicle, consumer, and credit data into action. From smarter marketing and better credit decisions to fraud protection, vehicle history, and market insights, they can help you move faster and stay ahead of the competition. Learn more at Experian Automotive.
Welcome to Daily Drive for Wednesday, July 29th, 2026. I'm Kellen Walker in Las Vegas. Today on the show, the earthquake damage in Japan is getting worse for automakers. BMW is preparing to cut thousands of jobs, and it's blaming China. And Ford posts a big quarterly loss, but strip out the charges, and the picture looks very different. Plus, a first-time dealer who just closed on 3 New Mexico stores talks about what it actually takes to get the deal done.
We got to get comfortable with being a little bit uncomfortable. I've been comfortable for many years. Now I want to take this to the next level.
Let's run through all the news you need to know to keep up in the auto industry. Toyota, Nissan, and Honda are feeling the effects of that major earthquake in Japan. Toyota has extended its Lexus production shutdown through July 31st, affecting up to 5,200 vehicles, including the RX and NX crossovers. Nissan has now suspended operations at 2 Kyushu plants, citing interrupted parts supply. Honda halted a motorcycle plant in the region as well. Supplier disruptions may outlast the factory shutdowns, with the full supply chain impact still unclear. BMW is launching a voluntary severance program that could eliminate around 8,000 jobs globally. Most cuts will come from German operations in R&D, planning, and corporate functions. The program runs from October through 2027. BMW expects it to boost profitability by 2028. The move follows a June profit warning tied to slumping China sales, where competition from local EV makers has intensified. BMW's German peers, including Volkswagen Group, are making similar workforce cuts as European automakers face pressure from multiple directions. And Ford posted a $1.3 billion net loss in the second quarter. The loss was driven by charges tied to scrapping its Blue Oval SK battery joint venture and canceling a pair of electric crossovers for its Oakville plant in Canada. Strip those out, and the picture looks different. Adjusted earnings rose 17% on strong pricing and favorable vehicle mix. Ford has now raised its full-year earnings guidance twice to between $10 billion and $11 billion. Joining me now is Michael Martinez, who covers Ford and the UAW for us at Automotive News. Mike, welcome back to Daily Drive.
Thanks, Kel.
All right, Mike. So how are investors and analysts reading this report overall?
I think pretty well. Ford's stock rose the day after it reported earnings, and I think most analysts are pointing to the fact that despite this loss in the quarter, the underlying business is pretty strong. We've talked a lot on the Weekend Drive podcast about how the upper end of the market is holding steady. Basically, that rich people are still willing to buy F-150s and Expeditions and get the higher end trims of those vehicles. That's where Ford shines in large crossovers, SUVs, and trucks. That's holding. And in the future, both this year and moving forward, they plan to sort of pad their profits with things like subscription services, with new businesses like Ford Energy, and with maybe some new defense contracts.
Wow. Well, Ford's energy storage business keeps coming up as a bright spot, but a lot of the details are still vague. What do we actually know about where that business is headed?
Well, Ford's pretty optimistic that they can turn a profit there eventually. I believe in late 2027, early 2028, they intend to start pumping out batteries for energy storage businesses. They already have one contract signed. Jim Farley, the CEO, said they're talking to a wide range of businesses, utilities, data centers, things like that. But they think it's going to be a big boost to their profits. And remember, Kel, this was both in Michigan and Kentucky. These were battery plants they were going to lose money on after this EV pivot, and they've turned it into a source of income by changing the business strategy.
Good stuff, as always. Mike, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Kel.
You can find Mike's full reporting on Ford's earnings at autonews.com. Coming up, Frank Peña spent 30 years working for other people's stores, then bought his own. The first-time dealer talks about what it actually takes to close the deal. That's next on Daily Drive.
This episode is brought to you by Experian Automotive. In today's auto market, every decision matters, and the businesses winning are the ones powered by better data. That's where Experian Automotive comes in. Experian combines industry-leading vehicle, consumer, and credit data with deep automotive expertise to help dealers, lenders, manufacturers, and industry partners make smarter decisions and move faster. Want to connect with the right shoppers at the right time? Looking to sharpen your marketing, make more confident credit decisions, better understand vehicle history, spot market trends, or strengthen your defenses against fraud? Experian helps make it happen. But it's not just about having a lot of data. It's about knowing what to do with it. Experian's automotive experts understand the challenges facing the industry today and help turn complex information into clear, actionable insights that drive results. Whether you're focused on growing your business, improving efficiency, managing risk, or staying ahead of market shifts, Experian Automotive gives you the intelligence and tools to compete with confidence. Learn more at experianautomotive.com. Experian Automotive, powering smarter decisions across the automotive ecosystem.
Welcome back to Daily Drive. I'm Kellen Walker. Frank Peña spent 3 decades in retail automotive, most recently as president of a Potemkin Hyundai store in Miami Lakes, Florida. This month, he closed on 3 dealerships in Clovis, New Mexico, carrying Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge Ram, Honda, Nissan, and Chevy GMC franchises under his new group, Dare to Dream Automotive. Our own Gail House sat down with Peña to talk about the road to ownership, what a first-time buyer actually goes through to get manufacturer approval, and where he wants to take the group from here.
Frank, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us today. I am really interested in hearing your story, your backstory, and your story about the future and what it holds for you. You have 30 years retail experience, most recently as president of a Potemkin Hyundai store in Miami Lakes. And this week, you became a first-time dealer. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us about the acquisition that you made, where it is, which brands you're going to be selling.
So it was pretty unbelievable. You know, both Brad and I, we're men of faith, and we just say that only God could have put us together, because it was a great mix. And you know, it's in Clovis, New Mexico. They've had the store since 1969. It's 3 brothers. They got it from their father, and they really had no succession. You know, the patriarch had no succession, and they honestly, their initial intent was really to sell the stores and move on. And you know, it's a one point market, so it's good, but it also has a good population, so that's a promising situation. And I'll tell you a little bit about the brands real quick, and then we'll go back to that. Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Honda, Nissan, Chevy, GMC. So great mix of brands, some unbelievable brands to be a part of, and lucky as a first time buyer. I'll tell you what, though, it wasn't easy. I had to jump through hoops. But, you know, I met the vendors and we hit it off. And then in conversation, really, it came about that, you know, I would say, would Brad stay in? Because I thought it was such an equity in the community. You know, Brad Bender, the nephew, to stay in. And with a bit of a process, we talked, we got comfortable with each other, and he decided to do that. So just a great town, great opportunity, great brands. And I'm blessed for a first time buyer trying to put a deal like this together. Is a little bit of a long shot, but I had a lot of support.
For sure. No, it definitely sounds like that you had to, you know, as you said, jump through some hoops. Tell us about some of the hoops, some of the challenges that you overcame in order to, you know, not only buy your first stores, but also to buy multiple brands.
Yeah. So, you know, first of all, you know, these stores, you know, they take money. They take quite a bit of money from the real estate to the capitalization of the store, and of course the blue sky. You know, then you got assets. I mean, it's every one of those equation represents dollar signs, right? So that was a challenge. Lucky for me, I had a great tenure with the Potemkin Automotive Group, and I'm so grateful to them, because, quite honestly, if it wasn't for the platform they set up for me and the education I got, you know, they taught me how to be a dealer. Quite frankly, that is their model. And if they give you a chance, you know, they don't give it to everybody. You got to earn it, right? But if they give you a chance, they really let you run your show. And they really set me up to be able to do what I did today. And I had a healthy tenure with them. So I had a good capital of my own, which helped. But even then, with all the experience and how well I did in their store, it was a challenge. The manufacturers, they want to know that they're putting the right person in place to run their store, especially if they have a situation where it's been there so long and they think that there's upside, and the market has evolved, times have evolved, technology has evolved. So it was really, it was a lot of proving who you are, interviews and documentation and background checks, and they asked me all the way up to a speeding ticket I had. I'm being a little bit facetious, but you know what I mean. They want to make sure they got a good candidate, not only operationally but morally in the situation that they're going to put a dealer in. So it was difficult. It really was. And then obviously you need to have one-to-one equity. They don't want somebody leveraged to a point where they're going to have trouble being successful. But I got to tell you, I'm glad that the process was so grueling, because I learned so much. Going forward, there's a lot of things that I'm going to be able to streamline a little bit better, right? Not only that, I had a great team that helped me out, from the attorneys to Cars Automotive, Chris and Cars, and Dan and Roger and that team. Incredible. They really were a very big part of putting me in business. Ally Financial, they rolled the dice on me, for a first time buyer. I'm a little bit outside of all those guys' wheelhouse. So it was. I feel very blessed that I had that kind of support from them.
I think when we were originally talking about the deal, you had also mentioned how NAMAD had helped you along. If you can tell me some of the ways that that they provided assistance in helping you.
NAMAD really is an incredible organization, and I think is more than just what their core was, which was representing a fair shake for minorities. Right. I think that there's an evolution that we'll see in NAMAD, and I'd love to be one of the people that pushes this. Is NAMAD is for anybody. The education that you get, the platform that they set for you to network and orchestrate you being exposed to everything from manufacturers to lending sources to SBA loans to insurance providers. You name it, they're all there, and they're not only there to try to sell you something; they're there to educate you. So I'll tell you, if it wasn't for the education, the relationship, my ally relationship got built through NAMAD. Juan Niebles and Rob, that was probably, I would say, 8 to 10 years ago. They set the platform for those guys to be there. I would have never met those guys. I would have never been exposed to those guys. So NAMAD was an incredible platform, and I think NAMAD, it doesn't matter where you're from. I think if you want to be a dealer, no respect to NADA, but NADA is a whole different agenda. Yeah, they have their modules and their workshops and whatnot, but NAMAD isn't about that. NAMAD is telling you, how do you become a dealer, right? Now, that's part one. The second part to that, obviously, we talked a little bit about it already. But if it wasn't for NAMAD's platform and the stage that they set for that type of networking, if you go there to work, and no offense to the guys out there at NAMAD, but we all know we like the Thursday night party. But if you go there to really work the workshops and listen and network and talk to some of the board members of NAMAD who went through the process themselves, you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to learn how to do this. That doesn't mean that everybody's going to be able to do it, because, again, manufacturers are looking for the right candidate now more than ever. But yeah, NAMAD was an incredible part of this equation.
So a lot of your experience was in Florida, and as an entrepreneur now, you're taking the first leap as a dealer in New Mexico and in this community of Clovis. Tell me a little bit about, how you are going to plan to immerse, your group in the community, and maybe some programs that you're thinking of to make that connection with the people there.
So even before Clovis, my vision, Dare to Dream Automotive, my vision of what that is going to look like as a dealer group in whatever community we're in is number one. Employees are just as important as your customers, right? Happy employees, happy customers, and we're hear that, and that's kind of cliche, but everybody says that. But are you really making your employees happy? Are you really taking the initiative to set a work environment where they can thrive and feel safe and feel treated fairly? So that's at our core. And then it's not second. It's a parallel as our customers. We got to take care of our customers. We got to take care of the community. This is a competitive environment. We've got to wow these customers. They're making a major purchase, and I think sometimes as car guys take that for granted. So that's at our core. And then right after that is community. we need to give back. And even before Clovis, I was a Boys and Girls Club kid, and I do a lot for the Boys and Girls Club, and a good amount of my money goes to the Boys and Girls Club because I know what the Boys and Girls Club did for me. But we, when I was with Potemkin, we donated for everything from Little League baseball teams to local churches, to Thanksgiving dinners, to all these things. And it's tougher in Miami. That's a big town, right? It's tough to stand out when you're doing those type of programs. So I'm really excited going to Clovis, to a small town where, it was funny because when I closed on this deal, everybody knew who I was at the airport. I'm like, oh my God, I really got to be careful what I do and what I say in Clovis, because it really impacts the community. But that's exciting to me because sometimes I got to tell you, these efforts that I did in these big cities, not that Clovis is totally a small town. Clovis has a 50, 60,000 population, and we'll get to what Clovis is in a second. But, a lot of what you did went in the shadows because you've got all these mega population and mega dealers and everybody doing stuff and this competitive environment country. I'm really looking forward to putting what I feel is important at the core in a community like Clovis. This is a community that has Canada Air Force Base. 5,000-6,000 military members are there, and it's the headquarters of Strategic Command. A lot of things happen in there that nobody knows about. We got Southwest Cheese, got the biggest cheese producer, I think, in the country. I'm pretty sure actually it is. And then you got some great things happening. You got an Amazon distribution center being put there. Clovis is kind of like the hub of that at Western Texas, Eastern New Mexico. It is the county seat, Clovis, and a lot goes on there. You got a major rail system that goes in and out of there to go across the country, and it's just I'm enamored by Clovis. Really, it's a really cool town, and I'm looking forward. The people have been unbelievable, and it's exciting to be in a community where what you do is actually going to make a difference. I'll tell you a quick anecdote. We got today. We got from our banker. She's a doll, and she made us cookies, and it had our name on it with the brands that we represent and all that. And she sent it to the store. I mean, not that wouldn't happen in Miami or anything like that, but that was a really nice touch. So things like that, get me excited. Also, major Hispanic population in Clovis that I don't think has been tapped into. Almost 50% is Hispanic. And I'm looking forward to be able to establish common ground, not only because I feel as American as anybody else, but my roots are Hispanic. I feel excited to not only service that American community and all those good people out there, but also cater and educate. And not that I mean that in a derogatory way, but we're immigrants to this country, and I know what it is to be an immigrant. And be fair to them and protect them and do what's right is a very exciting opportunity for me.
Frank Peña spoke with our own Gail Howe. That's Daily Drive for today. I'm Kellen Walker. Thanks to Automotive News executive producer Jake Neer, as well as our own Michael Martinez and Hans Greimel for their reporting for today's podcast. You can get the latest news on auto retail, the Japan earthquake, and everything happening in the auto industry at autonews.com. Come back tomorrow for a conversation with North American supplier executives about the changing industry landscape in 2026 amid tariffs, EV retreats, and growing competition from overseas.
It's not just the past 18 months. It's hard now in this industry to remember a quote normal year. And so all of these strategies are really designed to help us just remain agile and resilient.
We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show and the topics we covered today. Send us an email at dailydrive@autonews.com or leave us a voicemail at 313-444-2774. And if you enjoyed the podcast, remember to like, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.